Okay, so if you have been following this channel for a long period of time, you already know that most of my interests, I don't stack them. I don't put them together. But there's a moment when I have a certain product where I stack my interest and that it makes a lot of money. And that's why I decided to make this video because a lot of you guys are wondering, okay, but do you do stack interest? Why do you do single interest? And that's what we're going to dive today. We're going to dive on the reason and on the moment that I do stack interest because there's actually a moment that I do it. And to be honest, it's not all the time. And a lot of people are doing it at the beginning, and that's not what you should do. There's a strict moment where you are allowed to use tag interest. If not, 90% of the time, it's a single interest or no interest in all my campaigns. So you want to keep that in mind. Let's dive into it. Okay, so let's say that I'm selling a jacket, a nice jacket for, let's say, autumn. What I'm going to do? Well, most of the time, 99% of the time, I'm just going to either put, let's say, some broad interest, like let's say jacket, or I'm going to put similar brands that sell my jacket, like an example, Zara, or I'm just going to put interests that are related to what it is. Is it street fashion? Street fashion on here. Or what it is it streetwear? Or something like outerwear. So I will just go with the obvious. Obviously, I will put time to think more about my interest for, let's say, the brand that I'm choosing. Like, does it look really like Zara? Does it look more like, let's say, Canada Goose? Does it look more like Gucci? What brand does my jacket look like? And I'm going to choose that interest. But why do I never do stack interest? A lot of people they ask me, but Gilberto, let's say you have North Face, and why you don't put North Face? You also don't put, let's say, Canada Goose all together. You know they're all similar. So why are you not putting them? And how many interests do you stack together? Well, okay, so this is what I'm going to tell you today. I'm going to tell you first why I don't do stack interest. And secondly, I'm going to tell you how many stack interest you should do. Okay, so the first reason that I don't do stack interest is very obvious. It's because you don't know which interests work. And let's say that you launch your ad set and it optimized for the wrong interest. Let's say it optimized for North Face. And actually, Canada Goose would have been very, very profitable. And you don't know if it did optimize properly. So that's why I create two separate ad set, one for Canada Goose, one for North Face, to leave both them the right chance to give me a sale. Now, let's say that I did that. I tested North Face, I tested Canada Goose, I tested other brands. And let's say on those brands that I have tested, none of them worked. The only one that worked were Canada Goose and North Face separately. Great. Now I have two winning interests. What would I do? Is I would try to scale those winning interests to see the scalability of those interests. So I will duplicate three times Canada Goose. I will duplicate three times the North Face, and I will see, okay, there's actually North Face and Canada Goose are scalable. And if I see that I do my duplication and some of them worked, some of them are bringing me money consistently. So the duplication of Canada Goose, like two of them work and one in North Face is working. Great. Now I know that I have multiple assets with the same interest that are working and they're consistent and they're scalable. So what will be my next strategy? My next strategy would be to put Canada Goose and North Face inside of the same asset. Why? Because now I know that it is working. Now I know that it is profitable. So I will keep them inside of the same asset to make it last longer and to let Facebook play with the algorithm and just optimize better. But what if you do that with interests that are not working well together. Like I said a few seconds ago, it's not going to work. It's going to optimize very badly. So that's why I always do single interest when I test. But when I scale, I stack my best interest all together. And how many interests? Because now I need to answer the second question. What is the second question? The second question was how many interests you stack together. I've seen a good amount of results with two interests stacked together, three, and four. Over four, it's kind of pushing it. It doesn't work that well. It doesn't optimize that well. So you don't want to keep that in mind. So two, three, or four stack interest together are the one that works well. And let me give you a little tip also. Let's say that you have a interest that were working a few weeks ago. So you have actually two, three interests that were working a few weeks ago, but now inside of their assets, they're not working too well. Like if they're just inside of the same asset and they're alone, they're not working too well. You even turn off some of them. What would I do? To make them revive it and to give them a little push, I will put the previous interests that work together, like two, three, or four, inside one asset, and some of the time it will revive them. So that's what you need to keep in mind. It will revive them, but that's the thing. I'm playing with interests that worked in the past or that are working currently. And I'm playing with this data in order to make my product last as long as possible. Because you need to understand that if you have a super winner, everything that I'm saying right now, it's fugazi. It's like, nah, I don't care. Because every time that you're going to add a new interest, it's going to work. Every time that you're going to stack interest, it's going to work. But what if you have a, let's say, B winner or a C winner, a product that yes makes money, but it's not life changing. You'll probably make 20K, 30K in profit, but nothing too crazy. Yes, I know 20, 30K in profit is craziness, but bear with me. You need to understand that in the world of dropshipping, there's stores that could make $1 million in a single week. So this is not craziness compare um, to, let's say, the $1 million store a week. So keep that in mind. Obviously it's craziness compared to a 9 to 5, but not compared to what I'm comparing to inside of the dropshipping e-commerce business model. Okay, so like I said, you're playing with previous interests that work. You're playing with current interests that are working. It is okay to stack them together to make them last longer. Because in this world of, let's say, B and C winning products, some interests will maybe only last 3 days, maybe only last 4 days. They will make you a good amount of money, but you always need to be on that cycle of always trying new interests. Obviously, if you're smart enough, you will test new creatives on the side as well. But with a simple creative, think about this. When should you change your creatives? It's very simple. And that's the thing that, I want to come up to is, like I said, you want to stack interest when you have winning interest or past winning interest that made you money. And how do you keep your creative lasting longer? Is by finding different pool of interest. So you find different interests that would work with your creatives. And by putting it in front of different pools, it will last your creative longer. Obviously, if you see that you have a lot of interests that are dying out and they're getting unprofitable, then now you want to test new creatives with those old interests that were working previously, because it's not that they are not working anymore. It's probably because they're tired of your creative. Your creative is saturated. They want to see something else. So that's why your interest is fading away quite quickly. So that's what you want to keep in mind. And that is my strategy. So hopefully that you understood, hopefully that you took some notes. And if you truly want to scale, then keep in mind, not every product is scalable the same. Certain things will work better on one product and other things will work better on another product. And you need to test in order to know if it works for your product. Don't be stubborn. And obviously, at first, you want to test your strategy and test the same way. The testing doesn't change. But when it comes down to the scaling, you want to try to test different things in order to know what works the best for your products. Okay, so like I said previously, you need to understand that certain interests are going to work more than other interests, and you need to be quite unique with your interests if you want to find pocket of audiences that are going to work better. But how to be unique? Don't overthink it. If you have something that works, then just put more money towards the interest that is working. Duplicate it or do a CBO with that interest. Do something that will make you more money out of that interest. But on the other interest, then try to be very, very unique. Use ChatGPT to give you ideas of unique brand that you would not have ever known if it wasn't for ChatGPT. Like ask ChatGPT, give me unique brand that are worldwide known, but that maybe are not known by me. I know North Face, I know Canada Goose, I know this brand. What other brand are similar to this one, known worldwide, billion-dollar brands, but I'm just not aware of them or I'm not thinking of that I'm at the moment. And by doing those things, you will find very unique interest that will be able to work in the long term, and you will be able to stack them together afterwards. That's actually how you will see $1 million store making $1 million a day, and you test the same products and you're not making money. Why? Because he's scaling with very unique interest and you're scaling with very normal interest that everybody has tried before. So that's what you want to keep in mind. And you're like, oh, but he's making $1 million, I could not make at least $10,000. Well, maybe you're not even in the same pool of audiences. So that's what you want to keep in mind. Stay consistent. Use the same testing strategy. When you have a few winning interests, stack them together, be creative with other interests, and just cycle through all of it consistently. So yeah, guys, this is the video of today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and see you on the next video. Peace out.